Good day, everybody. My name is Dr. Francois Tessier. I'm CEO of the Center for Complementary Therapy and Pain Management in Sri Lanka. Welcome to this series of Zoom interview where you discover the most amazing doctors, therapists, philosophers, artists, shaman, psychic medium, healers, etc. that are practicing complementary therapies worldwide in their own way. These people enlighten us with their wisdom, and their journey help us to view the world differently. Today we have a very special guest. We have Mrs. Donna Strauss, a holistic healer from United States. For almost 20 years or 18 years, something like that, Mrs. Donna taught, developed curriculum, and mentor students from the Brennan Healing School in United States. She's a senior faculty and dean at this international renowned school established by Dr. Brennan, a reputed spiritual leader, healer, author, and educator. She is a bestseller author, right? This specific school offers a 4-year training program of certified healer, and Donna played a key role in the professional studies of this college. Donna has a degree in mental health technology from the Hanman University, maybe she will correct me later, in the United States. And she's the author of Blessings for 1,000 Generations. She's also trained in early object relation with Dr. Orman in New York and the Center for Intentional Living in past life regression therapies with Dr. John Amoroso. As an accomplished and very popular presenter, Donna traveled throughout the world and gave lectures, studies, workshops, conferences throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Czech Republic, China, etc. She supervises psychotherapists and healers all around the world. Mainly, she is the founder of a very special modality or technique that she is calling the Grace Touch Technique and the Living from Grace program. So as a very popular holistic healer, she has a practice in the United States. In short, it is very difficult to introduce such a journey because she went here and there. So I will stop here. And dear Donna, thank you very much for accepting this invitation. Thank you very much to be with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Francois. It's really a pleasure to be with you and your audience.
Thank you. Very good. All right. So we will jump into our question. My first question is, you are very much involved in the Brennan School, and you are successively vice president, senior faculty, dean, etc. And we would like to know about this modality. Please tell us the story behind the Brennan science and who she is, what is this modality, and explain us what is this, what it's all about. What is this modality in energy healing?
I met Brennan in 1987. I was studying at Hahnemann University, like you said, medical school in Philadelphia, but I also was having a lot of different kinds of experiences that I didn't have any language to express. So Hahnemann was more of a Freudian and humanistic school, moving in the 80s, moving into eclecticism. But I was having experiences of picking up things from clients and people that I didn't know. And I didn't consider myself psychic or anything, but I was having those types of experiences. And after kind of considering that for a while, I met a gentleman named Tad McKeon, and he handed me Barbara's book that she published on her own. And I have that here because most people have the blue book, but this was one that she published on her own. before Bantam took that book, and she took $50,000 of her own money and published this book because she believed in the work so much. And so Dr. Brennan, when I met her, it was phenomenal time coming to see hands-on healing and watching people do deep and profound work in the 80s. That's something that in traditional colleges and universities weren't studying. And she developed this program. She started in 1982 with 12 students. And then the next class was 22 students. The next class was 44 students. And then my class was 112 students. And so the school started growing, and Bantam saw this happening, and they published her Hands of Light book. Now, Dr. Brennan has a degree in science, and she was a NASA physicist for a while, worked at a weather station, but she also studied Alexander Lowen bioenergetics and core energetics with Dr. John Parakas, and also studied with Eva Parakas, who was a channel of pathwork lectures of 258 pathwork lectures. So on her journey, she was combining all this material. And then she met, I think it was Rosalind Bier, which is a healer, very well-renowned healer, who taught Barbara how to do the chelation work and the energy healing. So Barbara, during that time, combined all those pieces of work between path work, core energetics, and energy healing, and started to create her own program. And from some of her stories that she would say when she worked in New York, the way that she created some of the ways to teach things is she would have a client, she would do some hands-on healing and do something, and she'd like, "What? How did I do that?" And so she would roll back in time and take what she did apart piece by piece to see how she could teach that to others. And she realized that she could teach how to sew and mend a chakra, how to work on organs, how to work in the body in particular ways. So she developed this program, and in the 1990s, everything moved like a plethora. She came out with the book Light Emerging. So the school went from a couple hundred students to 700, 800 students in the early 90s. So by 1994, I graduated from the 4-year training in 92, did 2 years of teacher training. And by that time, the school just boomed, and we decided we needed deans and department heads to write up curriculum, because most of the teachings were, she taught all the healing science skills, and she had a staff that came in and taught the core energetics and other skills. Well, she hired myself as the healing science department head in 94, Patricia Fost as a professional practice department head, Chris Sarubi as what we called the awakening department, which is now the psych spiritual skills, and Andes and Bruce Bell were the creative arts department. So she created department heads to write up all the skills that were being taught by all the different teachers, herself included. So I did that for 6 years for the school, got everything written up with everybody, and we created workbooks. And in 2000, the year 2000, all that work was done, and I became the dean of year 4 and the year 4 studies, professional studies, for 5 years. And while I was doing that, I was studying at Union Institute to see if I could get my PhD. And they said you had to do a project demonstrating excellence. So for my project demonstrating excellence for them, I implemented a supervisor training program for healers around the world. It's now at the school, and it's called the Advanced Studies Brennan Integration Work Program. It's an extra 2 years of study that helps people do supervision for healers around the world. Wow. So in 2005, I decided I needed to retire. For whatever reason, sometimes you get a call, you need to do something else. And that's when I was going on a spiritual journey for myself with Blessings for 1,000 Generation. And that was a deep, profound family healing. And from Hahnemann, I had a lot of background in family systems theory, some psychodrama work. And I had a lot of woundings in my own family that needed to be unraveled, some secrets, that, people were telling, those kinds of things. You see stuff on DNA and genetic stuff. But through meditation and prayer, I unraveled a whole mystery in my family and wrote it in that book. So,
you were kind of your first healer, your experience based on your own history, and you created a new modality around that. Is that what you're telling?
yes. Well, I started when I left the school. I did that, and within the school, what I want you to know is in the 4-year training program, it's so important to understand that each year builds upon the previous year. So when Barbara put this training program together, she wanted the healer to heal themselves. So the first year of the program, you go through the first 3 levels of the human energy field, and you go also into the dimension of the hara and the dimension of the core essence. And that's one of the reasons I went to her school, was because she had this philosophy called the human energy consciousness system, which was the physical body, the aura or the human energy field, the hara dimension, and the core star dimension. And she was the only one talking about core star dimension and intentionality in the early 90s. And then you saw a plethora of books on intention after Light Emerging came out.
Yeah, but nobody.
So in the second year,
nobody wrote it the same way as her, right? She is kind of the.
no. And then that inspired. Yeah, her book inspired so many people when they started going, of course, intention. And I think Wayne Dyer wrote a book on intention after that, and had gone through some very challenging times in his life during that time when he wrote that book. And I think that her book inspired so much work in, I call the 90s the year of intentionality. The 80s were the years of codependency, like in psychotherapy. It goes through waves. And so the 90s was all about intention. And now it's all about core essence. It's all about the light of who you are. So that's what's exciting about our program. And what I wanted to tell you before I talked about myself was year 2 in her, once you build the first 3 levels of your field and you work on yourself, then you work on in relationship with other people. So people say, well, why do I have to work on my relationships? Well, all life is about relationships since you're born in your mother's utero, and then you become a family member, etc. So all healing happens in relationship as well. Yeah. So we spend a whole year on that relationship level, and then we spend time working in the astral plane, because the 4th level is the bridge between the lower levels of the field and the higher spiritual levels. So we spend a year in that level working with astral levels beings and higher guides, and sometimes lower, learning to work with lower energies so you can help anything that's in profound forgetting. And that's what Barbara would talk about. Lower energies are just in profound forgetting of their light. So we train our healers not to be afraid to go into the darkness and help someone come out into the light. And in year 3 of her school, she covers all the organ restructurings, all working on the 5th, 6th, and 7th levels of the field, and sewing chakras and being able to hold that level for 45 minutes to really work and have an impact in a certain area of someone's field. And then the year 4 is all about being in the hara dimension. And to hold that for people who are working on that muscle for 4 years so that they can hold their hara dimension, put their fingertips in somebody else's hara, and sink deep into their line of intentionality and help them heal and align to the purpose for being here.